Friends, welcome back. Another episode of Sammy and Marissa's Husbands. Today we have a pretty stereotypical agenda, right? This Day by Tyler, Athlete by me. We're going to talk about Olympics now that it's, basically over. We got some listeners' questions that we're going to discuss. And then, as always, random questions. And then end it off with pet peeves. So, what happened on this day in history?
Okay. Most importantly, in 1944, Ian McDermott was born. Do you know who that is?
I don't.
That is the actor who plays Emperor Palpatine in Star Wars.
In 1940, what?
Yeah, 1944. So he plays Palpatine in episode 6,
Yeah,
the one that came out in the 80s, episode 1, 2, and 3. He also plays Palpatine in episode 9.
in episode 9. Okay, so he's up there. We're talking 80s, right?
80 years old today.
80 years old today. I mean, 80 is a pretty good accomplishment, I'd say. I'd say you lived a significant life if you made it to 80.
Definitely. 10 years ago today, Robin Williams died by suicide.
Damn, it
Doesn't feel like it was that long ago.
really doesn't. 10 years ago? Damn.
In 1973, and this one is a little, you know, who knows if it's accurate. At a back to school party, DJ Kool Herc introduced the technique of playing the same album on two turntables and extending the drum section, which became known as the break beat. The night is widely recognized as the birth of hip hop.
Birth of hip hop. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Pretty,
I mean, I feel like
pretty
it's one of those
innovative.
things where you can't like really be like, oh, this is this day, but that's pretty much as close as you can get to having like an actual.
I'd say that very much signifies hip hop is like having that, the mixing that style of beats to it. So I'll give it to him.
1929, in the game against the Cleveland Indians, Babe Ruth hit his 500th career home run. First person to ever do that.
The Babe, the great Bambino, the Sultan of SWAT.
The fucking alcoholic. I don't know. You took all the good nicknames.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know any other ones, but I mean, I feel like they were all alcoholics back then, right?
Yeah.
I
Last
mean,
one I got, uh, Jackson Pollock killed in an automobile accident. You know who that is?
Jackson Pollock sounds very familiar.
He's like the guy who would paint. Well, he was a painter, and he did those like splatter paintings.
Hmm.
And people will reference, coming everywhere like a Jackson Pollock painting.
Oh, nice.
I'm sure that's what he wants to be remembered for, but that's how I know of him.
Hey, he's remembered. Me and
Facts.
you, not gonna be remembered.
Well, so we'll have a million podcasts with 8 listeners. So,
Yeah, true, true. We're literally gonna eclipse probably like 10 years of this podcast and keep the same 8 listeners.
hey man, just a weekly check-in.
That's exactly what it is. Um, that's cool though. Only painter I really know is Bob Ross.
Have you heard of Van Gogh?
Well, I mean, yes,
Leonardo?
DiCaprio.
I was gonna say Da Vinci, but I don't know if he's a painter.
He probably painted at least one thing in his whole life.
I mean, if that's what we're qualifying as being a painter, then I'm a painter.
In theory, are we talking about artistic pieces? Are we talking about fences? Are we talking about walls?
Fended in walls, I'm your guy.
I've painted things.
Hmm. Two painters on a pod.
And maybe that's the title of the episode.
There you go.
Two painters on a pod.
What you got for me?
All right,
I'm
so
gonna guess this first try.
yeah, so athlete segment, right? You know the deal. Guessing first try. If not, we'll walk you in. So shoot your shot.
Del Curry.
So, I'm not gonna give it away. I'll walk you in. Ask me some questions. That is not correct.
D does he have a connection to Curry?
Yes.
Steph Curry.
Yes.
I was gonna guess Steph, dude, but I thought that was two on the nose.
I would have been so pissed if we would have done back-to-back episodes and you'd have guessed it.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. That was pretty solid. I think shoot your shot may have given it away.
I was thinking Olympics because we're going to
Yeah.
talk about the Olympics, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking Steph went crazy. Steph would be too low hanging a fruit. So I went with his dad.
Well, I picked Steph just because he was basically the hero of the free world this week.
Yeah. I
He
mean,
should be he should be given the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
he went absolutely berserk.
That so we're going to talk about this, but that may have been the craziest thing I've ever watched. Those last four threes at the end of that game.
The last one, I literally jumped out of my chair. Me and Wes were watching the game at the house.
He shot it right, so he's going to his right. Two people are coming at him, and he shoots that one. And I was like, all right now. And then it is like so much arc on it, and then just drops down in. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
I literally was like, what a dumb fucking shot. And then fucking boom.
God.
Did you hear the translation of what the French announcers were saying?
No.
They were calling him the devil known as Curry.
I did see, actually, you know what? I did see that because I saw some funny memes and it was like my stomach after eating Thai food or something like that. And then it was like the devil notice curry.
Facts though. That is facts. That shit will get after you.
Yeah. Um, so that brings us to Olympics, right? So Olympics are, I think they concluded today. Obviously,
They're over now.
yeah, they're over. I still think we have to do the closing ceremony and all that good stuff, um, but their overall competition is over. Obviously, USA basketball won gold. Since we did our last episode, they played Serbia, which was a very close game. They ended up winning 95-91. Steph again went bonkers, so he's literally like the leader of the free world right now. I think I might write in Steph for president on my ballot.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn in a Steph Devin Booker ballot. I mean, LeBron was the most consistent and he was the best player throughout the whole Olympics because Steph was kind of absent, but he made up for it those last two games. He went insane.
Yeah, right. So LeBron had a triple double against Serbia, but Steph had 36 and 9 threes.
And KD clutch bucket at the end just gets him going left to right, right to left. And the
Yeah,
three of them together I mean, we'll never see anything like that again.
no, and one thing I wrote is like, what a way to finish out your Olympic careers. Like they're obviously all at their tail end of their career. They probably won't play in the next Olympics. I'm never gonna count them out because of the longevity stuff, but I would imagine that this is the culminating event of their Olympic careers. Um,
And it was
now
Steph's first Olympics, which I didn't realize.
I didn't realize either. I guess he just, wanted to focus more so on his NBA stuff and focus on winning championships because that was his time to win them.
LeBron could have had, if he would have played in 16 and 20, he would have had five golds and the bronze in 2004, which would be insane.
Yeah, they
That's just so much.
they should have won gold in '04 and he should have had six.
But he
Um,
wasn't playing. I mean, that's the thing that people like hold that against him. He was like the eighth guy. Like he was coming off the bench on that team. That isn't his fault they lost. If I'm blaming somebody, I'm blaming Richard Jefferson.
yeah, I mean, I truthfully don't know if I would have picked Richard Jefferson to play during those Olympics.
But he was at the peak of his powers.
He was at the peak of his powers, but the peak of his powers weren't necessarily. I think they could
And,
have got somebody else.
and Kobe didn't play in that one. Shaq didn't play in that one.
Right. So you know, I think that Steph and Booker for president ballot would do good. Booker's that silent partner that keeps cool, calm, collected, and he's gonna advise you to do the right thing. And Steph is just the face of the franchise. He's cool under pressure. And man, that shit was fun to watch.
Booker, talking about a guy knowing your role, playing it perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like maybe Tatum needs to take some notes, right? Because Tatum could be a capable defender. He's a big dude. He's long. He's athletic, but
Mhm.
he just chooses to not play defense. And because of that, that's probably the reason he didn't play because he comes in the game and he just wants to jack.
I saw somebody tweet that obviously, Steve Kerr made that comment. It's a mathematical issue with Tatum not playing.
Yeah.
And the mathematical issue was Devin Booker, his stats. So it's like,
Also, his mathematical issue was him not putting the ball in the basket. That's another mathematical issue.
we've shit on Jason Tatum a lot on this. Honestly, I don't want it to be like a Jason Tatum hate podcast because I don't hate Jason Tatum by any
I do.
means.
I do.
Well, that's fine. You're half of this, so I guess it's a half hate Tatum. I don't hate Tatum. I think he's a good player. Um, but he didn't make one jump shot in the whole
Yeah.
Olympics.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he wasn't playing a lot. Hard to get a rhythm.
Yeah. He's a
He's one of
rhythm
the
guy.
best. He's one of the best players in the world, though. Make a fucking jump shot.
Right, for sure. I think maybe part of it, he's struggled with his jump shot throughout the playoffs and everything. So it's really no surprise that that continued because he's not able to get in that rhythm. He's playing weird minutes with a weird ball, with weird rules. Um, Truthfully, he's a person that I think really could have benefited from not playing in the Olympics and really getting after it this off season. But I mean, hard to argue with wanting to go out there and get a gold medal for your country. So can't fault him for that.
Especially the role he played in the last Olympics. He was one of the best players on the 2020 team.
Yeah.
So it probably was hard for him, but you got LeBron coming back. You gotta take a back seat. I mean, they pretty much play the same position. So
Right. I mean, and truthfully, even if LeBron wasn't playing great, it's one of those things. This is this LeBron, KD, and Steph. This was their show. It was theirs to win, and it was theirs to lose.
they fucking won it. Because we the best.
They did
We the
win it.
best.
Um,
Also,
yep.
just real quick, we dominated in total medal count and we had the most gold medals. So America is still the shit.
Yeah, we are. I
We
mean,
we
we
did
knew
tie
it was
with
gonna come.
China. We tied with China for most golds. We each won 40, but we won like 40 more medals than they did
Yeah,
overall.
don't love that. Wish we would have, got one out. Got on top during the gold. Um,
The tiebreaker is the total medals.
yeah, that's fair. Still wish we would have got came out and clear first, but
Well,
did you see the
If Noah Lyles would have won the fucking 200 meter, we wouldn't
yeah,
be in this situation.
fucking fake COVID motherfucker? You see him post
I
he
did.
posted the thing, was like, "Oh, I'm COVID free, thank God." Okay. Oh, 2 days after you said you had COVID, now you're COVID free. Like nobody believes you, man.
All I'm saying is he's lucky he won that fucking gold in the 100 meter.
Oh God. He got shit on so bad.
He's fucking lucky, dude.
He got shit on so bad. Did you see the women's game?
We won 35 more medals than China total. Um, yeah, I didn't know France had a good women's team.
No, me either.
Um, so if her foot was behind the line, it would have sent it to overtime, which would have been crazy for a gold medal game.
Correct, yeah. I still think we would have pulled that out in overtime, but
Yeah,
I mean, in all reality, it was a lucky shot. However, sometimes luck is part of the game. But damn, got to get those fucking feet behind the line, man.
that sucks for France. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, listen, you run up against the big dog. We're the best basketball country in the world, obviously. It's been that way since the game was invented. So we have far and away the most gold medals in basketball. The women's team has won 8 in a row. I mean, it is what it is, baby.
It is what it is, and there's not much else to say.
I saw
Uh,
someone tweet, "Time to build us another one," like the Statue of Liberty.
oh man, that's pretty funny. Yeah, time to build us another one. Um, all right, so yeah, good Olympics. I enjoy the Olympics. I really do. Summer Olympics are by far better than Winter Olympics. The snowboarding and stuff is cool. However, it's just Summer Olympics hit different.
Um, Real quick before we move away from Olympics, did you catch any of the breakdancing?
Oh yeah, I don't like the breakdancing.
I've I've never watched, obviously. I don't have any attachment, any knowledge about breakdancing, but I watched the bronze medal matchup between an American guy named Victor or something and a Japanese kid. And they like legit talk shit to each other. Like
Yeah,
I was like, this is kind of crazy. If they repeat a move, he'll like hold up the number of times he's repeated the move. Because everything's supposed to be like fresh and new, I guess. It was pretty cool. I'm surprised, because breakdancing was invented in America. We fucking only came with the bronze, but
yeah. I feel like the people that are doing the breaking, as it's called, not breakdancing, aren't necessarily the cream of the crop. Like I do feel like if you go to a high school pep rally and get those interesting individuals that come out there and like the Buddhas of the world, I think that's where these breakdance competitors come from.
uh, yeah, yeah. I do want to clarify something I said when Mike was on here. I said that the U.S. women's um, table tennis team won gold, and that just wasn't true.
It's just a blatant lie.
No, I don't think we medaled at all.
Yeah, that checks out.
But I don't know why I'm framing it like that. I know for a fact we didn't medal. So
Yeah. So he was right because he said that it's just usually the Chinese and the Koreans that typically win, and he was correct. We did not medal.
I was fooled by fake news. Like there was something circulating that I just took at face value. It was fake.
Classic table tennis sentinel,
Pretty much. Pretty fucking much.
pretty much. All right, so Olympics is over. Moving on from Olympics, we do have some listener questions that were asked for us to discuss. Um, Plankface 77 asked us for our all-time NBA starting five. So let's work it down. Like we'll go point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center, and we'll just each discuss each position and move from there. So honestly, with my point guard, um, this has probably changed in the most recent years. For a long time, it probably was Magic for me, but I think I got to give it to Steph now.
Yeah, I mean it really just depends on what you want, I think.
I agree.
If you want a more pure point guard, pass first traditional point guard, you go Magic. Steph's a better shooter and a better scorer overall. It's not like he's a slouch moving the ball. He probably averages 6 assists a game. So I mean, very solid player. Probably. He's got to move into the top 10 now, right?
I think he's got to, and I mean, honestly, you wouldn't really base that off Olympics typically, but I mean, I
It
think
has to count for something.
it's got to count for something, and he showed out.
Now, the way we're doing this, are we just going to have a top five that me and you agree on, or are we each going to have a top five? I think we'll pretty much agree on all of them.
I think they'll be pretty close. I think there may be like one or two that we you know don't agree on necessarily, but I think it's going to be pretty standard data, if you will.
Yeah, and we could just give maybe other options for people.
Right.
They were building theirs. So I mean, point guards, you got Magic, you got Isaiah Thomas, John Stockton, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash. Pretty much the only options. The two only options are Magic or Steph, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm comfortable going just Steph.
Yeah, I'm going Steph as well. So two guard, right? There's basically only two options. I mean, it depends where you classify people in positions, but I think your options are really MJ and Kobe. And I mean, you just got to give it to MJ, I think.
I mean, Kobe is pretty much carbon copy Michael Jordan, who is a little bit not as good.
Yeah, I mean, he's a little bit better of a outside shooter. But I think that's just in terms of the game changing a bit. But I think you got to give it to MJ.
I think you give it to MJ. I will say I think Kobe's a better defender. I think the MJ being a great defender thing is kind of blown out of proportion. I don't really think he was that good of a defender. I think that's kind of propaganda, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, he got to hide a lot of his career because Scotty.
Yeah, Scotty, that's a legit defender. But I would say Kobe's the better defender.
Yeah, I would agree. I still would edge it to MJ. I mean, it's closer than a lot of people might like to think. Um, Depends on what you want, but I like giving it to MJ.
Yeah. Gun to your head. Third best shooting guard. Because obviously MJ Kobe, that's pretty. And if you said somebody else as the number two other than Kobe, I pretty much won't talk to you because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, gun to my head. I mean, we got to talk. Is James Harden considered a point guard? Still probably or a point guard or a shooting guard. I still probably wouldn't put him at three. I love D Wade. I think you got to give an argument for him to be there. I think Clyde Drexler is probably in the conversation.
Criminally underrated, I think.
Yeah, I still
Uh,
think I would pick D Wade over Drexler.
and then Allen Iverson too.
That's fair. I think Allen Iverson probably falls back on the list because we don't really know how to classify him because he's so undersized at the two guard, but he's really not a point guard. Honestly, we could put Steph as a two guard if we really wanted to.
Yeah, but Steph primarily plays point guard, and AI primarily played shooting guard because he had Eric Snow.
Yeah,
So I would give it to D Wade.
I would too.
Also, just tossing out there Jerry West, RIP, the logo.
Yeah, true. So I think we're pretty much in agreement with Steph at the one, MJ at the two.
This one is easy for me as LeBron.
Yeah, three. I mean, there's really no question about it.
Other people you can talk about. We don't need to glaze LeBron. The people know what we like.
Yeah.
Larry Bird, I think, is clear cut number two.
Yeah,
Probably highest basketball IQ of all time.
he's up there. I mean, I would say LeBron's basketball IQ is pretty high as well. Someone like Rondo has a really high basketball IQ. But I mean, Larry Bird is definitely in that two spot, I'd say, depending on how you classify other people.
Yeah, Scotty's a three, so you can make an argument for Scottie Pippen. Maybe he's definitely a top five small forward of all time.
I would agree with that.
Power forward, I think, is where it gets a little interesting because
It depends on.
there's the easy answer, which is Tim Duncan. But he played center a lot of his career. He was a natural power forward, but he had to play the five a lot, especially towards the end of his career.
Yeah, another person that plays the four
truly is a four, but has to play a five a lot is AD. He wouldn't be in my conversation necessarily for, best four of all time. Um,
Honestly, someone that, the game is different now. I don't want someone like Tim Duncan to play my four. I was thinking almost Kevin Durant.
Mm.
You're lacking a little bit on the defensive side of the ball. However, he is a pretty elite shot blocker. Um, he lacks some size. If you have, KD trying to guard Tim Duncan would be a mismatch problem for sure, but Tim Duncan trying to guard KD would just be bad.
I think this might be our first disagreement. I'm gonna go traditional. I'm gonna go Tim Duncan.
Okay.
Just because Kevin Durant is a small forward to me, and he was overlooked when we were just talking about small forwards, which he shouldn't have been.
Well,
But
the reason I didn't talk about him as a small forward is because I had him at my power forward.
I mean, I think that can go either way.
Yeah, I think it could. Just like
I
you
mean,
you could put
yeah,
LeBron at the four, you could put LeBron at the one.
yeah, okay,
So you're
Wait,
going Tim Duncan, I'm going KD.
okay. I will say favorite power forward of all time for me, Charles Barkley. I think that should be, and people don't realize how good he was.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's very criminally underrated. Um,
I would take him over Karl Malone any day of the week.
yeah, I think just in terms of, rebounding and defense, Karl Malone, I think has a better offensive game. But then again, maybe a lot of that was because of Stockton.
I mean, when you have John Stockton tossing you the ball every single play, well, it's tough not to get buckets.
Right, right. And you're just, having affairs with 15-year-old girls, but
I don't know if she was that old.
yikes. That's pretty, we'll move on, but that's pretty bad.
That's bad. I'm pretty sure the child from that came of that made it to the NFL though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, so
Okay.
so center, right? Center, I think there's definitely options. There's Kareem, there's Hakeem, there's Shaq,
Jokic.
Jokic is probably getting there in that conversation, to be honest. Yeah.
For me, I mean, I'm just gonna go what I like. I'm gonna go Shaq, most dominant player ever. There's nobody in the history of basketball or that will ever play basketball that would be able to stop him at his peak.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, 10 times out of 10, I'm picking Shaq. You took the words right out of my mouth, most dominant player ever.
Yeah, what the fuck are you gonna do with that? Especially if he's in shape and wants to play. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, nah, nah. Yeah, Lakers Shaq was a different breed.
Even fucking Orlando Shaq, like when he was a little more athletic, cared about playing defense a little more.
Yeah, monster, absolute monster.
I'm
So
telling
yeah,
you, Shaq, Phoenix Shaq right now in the NBA is averaging 30 and 15.
Phoenix Shaq was pretty old.
Phoenix Shaq was an all-star, baby.
Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing anybody could do if he got the ball in the painted area.
No. Couple other people you could talk about. Wilt, did we say Wilt?
We didn't say Wilt, no.
Bill Russell, George Mikan.
Yeah,
Little George Mikan shout out. Probably too old, but I think contributions to the game need to be discussed.
yeah, the Mike and drill.
Yeah, I was a beast at the Mikan drill.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you want to learn how to finish around the rim, kids get after the Mike and drill.
Both hands.
You got to.
I used to get dizzy doing that fucking drill.
Honestly, yeah. Honestly, that gets you dizzy for sure. I still do that in my like warm-ups today when I go play pickup. I do my little like shooting warm-up and then I finish with the mic and drill. Just like, 10 on each side. Just
Ain't
get you
nothing wrong with
comfortable.
that.
Get you comfortable, putting the ball off the glass, watching it go in, get you ready for the day. But yeah, so that's my all-time starting five: Steph, MJ, Bron, KD, and Shaq.
Mine's the exact same, except the power forward. I'm going Tim Duncan.
Yeah, I don't think you can argue with that at all. All right,
I like.
so let's pause. Let's pause for a little commercial break, and we'll be back shortly. Are you experiencing stomach pains? Is your tummy hurting from eating horse meat at BK? Call our good friend Corey down in Dirty Myrtle, and they'll send you a lifetime supply of Tums.
Welcome back. Just want to make a little apology about that ad from a personality wrapped in skin called Trey. I didn't know that was gonna be the ad. I wouldn't have allowed it, but we're not really that good at editing over here. And I did laugh. So Corey, I'm sorry, but I'm looking for a new podcast partner. I'll leave it at that.
Look, I can't help the ads that come in. You got to give the people what they want.
Corey's 1/8 of the people that listen. He doesn't want. We're gonna alienate one of our viewers.
You're the one that alienated him. I just said he supplied the Tums.
Oh
All
my
right, so
God.
back into the listeners requests. So we had a request to do a debate, and we were bouncing around some topics to debate, and I think what we're gonna try is to debate our feelings towards guns in America. I don't really know your stance, but I generally do have a stance. So we'll see if they are on the same page or if they're not. So what is your take on guns?
I think I have a pretty normal stance on guns. I'm pro Second Amendment. I'm also pro stricter gun laws as far as how easy it is to get a gun. It's very easy to get a gun in a lot of places. In Wilmington, you don't even need to apply for a pistol permit anymore. Just some things that are uncomfortable, but I'll talk about them because it shapes my view on it. Guns are the leading cause of death for children in the United States if you qualify at the age group ages 1 to 19. It's the leading cause of death. If you include newborns and infants, that changes because there's a lot of age-related deaths. 11 infants a year die between the age of 0 and 1 from guns. So I'm not going to say it's insignificant because 11 babies die, but that isn't a huge portion of it. In 2023, there were, I'm sorry, in 2020, there were 4,357 children ages 1 to 19 in the US that died by gun-related violence. That's accidents, suicides, and homicides. So some of them are self-inflicted. By comparison, motor vehicle deaths accounted for 4,100 in that age range. But if you change the age range from 1 to 17, just to have some nuance, gun-related deaths are second to vehicle-related injuries. So can you say it's the leading cause of death for children? Yes, if you frame it a certain way. So I know a lot of people like to play, games with how they frame shit. So I just wanted to give two sides to that so you can kind of see each one. But overall, more than 40,000 people killed by gun violence in 2023. Also, that's not murders, it's just gun-related deaths. So half of those, a little more than half, are suicides. So I think if there is, just me personally, if there's a mental health component, now, is it easy to determine if you can have a gun. I don't know. I'm not saying I have the answer to that. I do think there needs to be a test as far as if you are mentally healthy enough to have a gun. I don't think domestic abusers should be able to own a gun at all. That might be infringing on their rights as people, but if you're a domestic abuser, you're a piece of shit, in my opinion. So I don't really care. And convicted felons, I don't think they're allowed to own guns anyway, but I'm not 100% read up on that. And I do think you should be able to pass some sort of test, competency test, for actually loading, unloading, firing, cleaning, all that shit. So I'm very pro Second Amendment, but I do think it needs to be a little stricter.
Okay, I mean, I'm pro Second Amendment as well, so maybe this isn't going to be as much of a debate as we thought. Um, the Second Amendment says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And I'm with that. I think every person should have the right to have a gun if they want to. Now, there are people that give up their rights. So like if you're convicted of a felony, like you don't have rights anymore. If you are not a citizen of the country, I don't think you should be able to own a gun. I think you should have to gain your citizenship before you can own a weapon. And then like you said, people like domestic abusers, I think maybe that should be qualified as a felony. Because I think people like that should give up their rights in some form. I think we need to make that a little bit stricter of a punishment, and I think it'll stop happening. But that's my take on a lot of things. Like for instance, I think gun violence would go down, especially things like these mass shootings and mass murders or whatever, if we just bring back public executions. Right? Uh, you know, if so I don't think necessarily you should have to. What'd you say about pistol? You don't have to get a pistol permit to buy a pistol in North Carolina. I don't think you necessarily need a pistol permit. I think almost if we're gonna have a Second Amendment, then stuff like gun safety should maybe be taught in schools. Like we do home ec in schools. We learn how to bake a fucking cake. Why don't we learn how to properly handle a weapon system?
Yeah, and I real quick, I'm not saying I disagree with the permit thing. The permit thing is just a way for them to make money. So I could care less about that. I don't want it to seem like, oh, I think that New Hanover County should get money for me buying a pistol permit. Fuck them. I don't give a shit about that. But I do agree with the like a gun safety course maybe could be mandatory before you have to purchase a weapon, which I think that's pretty like I think that's pretty low bar.
Yeah,
Where like if you know, I mean, like just for informational purposes, really.
right. You got to when you get a boater's license, you got to take a boater safety class. Um, so I don't necessarily think like it's something you have to do. Maybe you can test out of it. You don't have to go sit through some 2-week course, but if you take a test online and you understand, you've been taught by your parents or something like that at a young age and how to properly maintain a weapon, then sure, you test out of it. You don't have to take the course. But I think you should have to legally own a weapon. And if you're caught illegally owning a weapon, then we need to make the punishment more severe. And I think illegally owning weapons would then the problem would go away in a sense.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, I know you kind of said it in jest about public executions, but if you go to a school and you shoot up children, I think you should be tortured publicly. I don't have any issues with that.
No, I mean honestly, you're gonna go to prison, get the death penalty, sit there, get 3 hot meals a day.
Cost millions of dollars in taxes that we
Yeah.
have to pay for.
Instead, we take you to the city square, gather all the people around and cut your head off. Right? I think some deterrence might happen.
Yeah, and obviously we're not saying, I mean, once you're convicted by a jury of your peers, I'm not against due process. But if I fucking see you shoot some kids, we don't need to go to court.
Mm.
You know, if there's 20 people that saw you shoot up a school, we can just skip all that. Skip all the bullshit. It's a waste of our money. take you out, beat you to death if you're
Yeah.
killing children.
If the punishment for doing a mass shooting was somebody holds your head up by the hair and we let Mike Tyson bite off both your ears, nobody's shooting up a school.
Yeah, no.
I'm not. I don't want Mike Tyson anywhere near me.
Yeah, I mean, the punishment could be him staring at you really close for 20 seconds and it would just go to zero.
Yeah, there wouldn't be a problem anymore.
The fear would be put in him.
Yeah, so maybe that's what we need to do. We'll get Mike Tyson on the anti-gun policy, and he'll be in there. He'll just eat ears of convicted mass shooters.
Yeah, I think basically what we're both saying is common sense gun laws.
Yeah, common sense gun laws. I think you should be able to keep an arsenal in your home. This country was built from an oppressive government, that we had to raise arms against. I think if you want and you could safely secure these weapons, you can have whatever weapon systems you want in your home.
Do you mean anything?
I mean, machine guns, I mean, rocket launchers, self-defense.
I'm probably against rocket launchers. I'm probably against that. I'll come out and say it. I don't think civilians should own a rocket launcher. I might be labeled a liberal. I'm against a civilian owning a rocket launcher and probably a machine gun too. I don't trust. You know what I mean? Maybe there's a harder course you have to take to get those couple things.
Yeah, maybe you have to get license on those ones.
Yeah.
But if I'm a thief, right? If I'm, in there committing robberies and I come up to a house and there's a sign in the front yard that says, "I will shoot a rocket launcher at you if you enter my yard," I'm probably staying out of the yard.
And maybe that's part of, if you own one, you have to has to be a sign in your yard that says you own one.
Yeah, kind of like the sex offender list. You go on the rocket launcher list.
Yeah. Okay. In Wilmington, North Carolina, there's a house where there's 7 houses where people own rocket launchers.
He's like, maybe we shouldn't live next door to this guy. But yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, at some point in time, I'm probably going to want to have some form of arsenal in my home. Not just necessarily pistols for self-defense, but I'm going to have a shotgun for a home intruder. I'm going to have some form of assault rifle, just in case, because I like that shit for one. I like shooting them. So, have one. In case something happens and I got to defend my home and my family, I want to be prepared.
And that's the good thing about being an American, that you can't own those type of things anywhere else in the world. But there's also crazy people in this country who go around killing kids. So it's kind of like,
not if we start cutting their heads off in public squares.
Yeah. So it's it's definitely nuanced. There's 2 sides to it. I don't think, and it's also one of those things, well, just because some other people are shitty, why would you take away what I can do? So I see that side of it. Just because there's crazy people who do terrible things with guns, why should it be harder for me to get them? I understand where people are coming from that perspective. But if you really want a gun, take a class. Whatever. I don't think, for me, it's not that big of a deal. I don't. And then it gets into is this infringing on your right to have it? I guess there's that. If you want to, I don't know. I'm not a constitutional lawyer, so I don't know what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like I said, I think everybody should have the right to be able to get a weapon. Pretty much any weapon, honestly. As long as they don't do something to give those rights away.
And we agree on the domestic abusers, pedophiles.
Yeah, in reality, those
convicted. Yeah, you should be. There's other penalties that you should
Start
have.
start killing people.
Yeah, I mean, pedophiles. I'm for kill pedophiles.
I think that's a no-brainer. I don't really even think that there should be a question about that. If you know, do something like that to a underage kid, like you should be you should be killed by firing squad.
That's too easy.
You have to stand there and look down a barrel of a gun. That's
It's
gotta be,
quick.
yeah, well, maybe we'll burn you to death.
Put them in a cage with me.
Then
They
they
got,
rape
but
then
their
they
hands are
rape
tied
you.
behind their back. Yeah, but they're I need some kind of advantage. So they need to be like, they're taped to a chair or something, and I just go in there and beat them to death.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
See
think
how many times I could swing a softball bat.
oh God, we don't want that.
The guy would end up going free and hurting more kids if I'm swinging a bat.
The first
Um,
person to strike out against a human body.
Classic.
Classic. All right, so it didn't really turn into as much of a debate as we thought, but we tried.
Well, you never know. I mean, that's kind of a iffy subject. Maybe that's what we do in here. Maybe we start having a couple more hard-hitting segments. We won't agree on everything.
No, that's true. I didn't want to get too much into like politics about it. But I think this was like on that line. Obviously, there are politics involved. People on the left are one way, people on the right are another way, just typically. I feel like both of us are, fairly close to the middle, as close to the middle as a lot of people are. Um,
But that's the thing. I also think this is going to be a political statement, but it's I think the two-party system is what's wrong with this country. I don't think anybody does any kind of research. I think they just vote red, they vote blue, and that's why we're stuck with two fucking morons.
yeah, yeah, I agree.
That's as far as I'll get into that. That's just my. I'm very for abolishing the two-party system,
Yeah, I mean, I think you vote for the best leader. The best leader figures it out.
and that's Steph Curry and Devin Booker.
Yep, yep, put them on the ballot. You heard it here first. Write in your ballot. Steph Curry, Devin Booker for president. All right, so that's it for our debate. Let's move into random questions. So my first random question to you is, what is your favorite thing to cook or make?
Hmm. Interesting. I'm not a great cook. I'm getting decent at the grill though. Man in the grill.
Okay.
Um, Honestly, the thing I make that I think is the best is turkey. Excuse me. Oh my God. I'm talking about cooking. My body's like, don't cook anything. You can't cook.
You don't need any more calories.
Oh God, that's not what I was saying. I was a bad cook. No, I was bad. Huh. Uh, I make a good turkey chili.
Okay. All right. What do you put in it?
Um, I do like chili powder. Jesus Christ. I think I'm dying.
It could be.
Yeah.
You probably have the same COVID that Noah Lyles had.
I do like it's been a while, but I would do a full thing of ground turkey, tomato sauce, tomato paste, cayenne, chili powder, some other shit. Honestly, I don't even know. It's been so long. Onions. I put onions in there for sure.
All
A
right.
bay
Hard
leaf.
hard hitting question. Do beans belong in chili?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think.
Okay. All right, good. I agree.
Yeah, I put beans in there too. So there, that answers that.
Yeah. Some people are very anti beans in chili.
I don't know if I love black beans in chili.
Okay, what kind of beans you putting in there?
Kidney beans.
Yeah, I mean, I
Like
guess
the
I'm
red,
going.
like red kidney beans, I think is what I go with.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. I'm definitely throwing black beans in mine.
Now, I'm not sitting here saying if there's a chili put in front of me with a black bean in it, then I'm not going to eat it. Just going, strictly preference here.
That's fair.
Granted,
This is your chili.
we're talking beans right now. Kind of getting off chili. I don't love a black bean refried bean. I like a pinto bean refried bean.
I would agree with you there. If I'm getting refried beans, like I want it to be pinto beans.
Yeah.
Black beans, I want fresh out the can.
Yeah, I like black beans like that.
Yeah.
Good bean, good hearty bean.
Good
But
hearty bean, a lot of protein. Good black beans are good for you.
I fuck with beans.
I fuck with beans as well. You look like the type of guy that fucks with beans. Sorry, I had to.
Don't like you. One of my favorite videos online is it's like an animated movie where all of the people or whatever are beans. And it's like a 10-second clip and it's a bean and he goes, "Where is Killer Bean?" And it starts like killing a bunch of bean cops. It's kind of, you know what, for the people who are listening, uh just look it up on YouTube. I don't know. I don't know what to
Fair.
say.
That's fair. All right, so my favorite thing to cook or make, like I said, the grill. I've been into the grill a lot. Everybody loves grilling out. Um, but I love making some pico.
Okay.
I made pico today from my garden, tomatoes, jalapenos, all that good stuff, onion. Got it from my garden, made a fresh batch of pico. Um, Go to every time I get home, I get some chips out of the pantry and smack a couple chips with pico. What a snack.
Is Pico pretty low calorie, I guess then.
I mean, it's just vegetables.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's fairly low calorie, and I've been getting these chips. I've been off the Tostitos. Um, and they're these type of chips. I don't know the brand of them. Sammy would have to come in here and let me know, but they're all like just regular ingredients. So if you look on the back of it, it's just like tortillas, like very standard ingredients versus like if you turn over the package of Tostitos chips and it has like 100 ingredients. You know what I mean? They're very much like not any weird stuff, no chemicals, just like 4 ingredients to make these chips. And they're pretty good.
I wonder if they're kind of like protein chips that I've had in the past.
They're not called anything like protein chips. I'll have to send you a picture of them. And I'll let you try them because they're a little bit more expensive than the Tostitos because they are better for you. And the bag it's not as many chips as in a Tostitos bag. But in reality, those bags have like 30 servings of chips.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is it's more expensive and you get less chips.
That is correct. However, they are better for you. And honestly, I think they taste better.
Okay. I can get down with that if they taste better.
I like the way they taste and they're better for you.
I don't care about that.
Because like a serving of Tostitos chips is like 6 chips. And like
Yeah.
there's not a time in the world where I'm eating 6 chips. If I'm pulling out the bag and I'm opening it or I'm unwrapping it, like I'm eating at least 25 chips
Oh, easy.
easily. Half that bag is going to
That-
be gone.
that's just mindless eating too. Like
Yeah,
I don't even be hungry and I be doing that shit.
right. It's because it's just like I put through the effort to grab this out of the pantry. And chips are one of those things that like they make you want them more after the first one.
Definitely, especially uh, I'm for your chip. You get your chip, right? Do you want do you prefer a flavor chip? You kind of seem like a plain chip kind of guy.
Don't disrespect me.
A bland personality, like a bland chip.
There's not a scenario in this world where I'm eating just a regular Lay's potato chip.
A Tostitos is a plain chip.
If I'm dipping it in salsa, I'm not eating a Tostito by itself.
Okay, whatever. You like fucking noodles with butter. How am I supposed to know you don't like that?
You don't like noodles with butter?
I'm not saying I don't, but I prefer it with sauce.
Well, I prefer it with sauce too. But if somebody puts a plate of noodles with some butter and salt in front of me, I'm gonna eat it.
It's a crime that I ended up the fat one. Because that's fat guy behavior. Butter my noodles real quick. My question was gonna be, do you like a lightly dusted flavored chip or one that's like a Dorito, where it's just
So Doritos are by far my favorite chip of all time. Just a regular nacho Dorito. I want so much like Dorito dust on my fingers that it's hard to. I have to use my teeth to get it off my fingers.
you're a sick fuck.
Are you telling me you don't like that? Like
Um,
I want to wash my hands and it's still not cut off.
you're mentally ill, I think. I was eating popcorn not too long ago, like cheddar popcorn. It's kind of like that where it just gets yeah,
I
you
I hate I hate eating popcorn if it's not just like movie theater popcorn.
so you don't like flavored popcorn.
Fuck no.
Interesting. See, that's interesting to me because I thought you would have liked flavor. No, I don't think that. I didn't think that. I don't know. I was trying to say something profound. I don't have it. But it is surprising that you like flavored chips and not flavored popcorn. Because flavored popcorn's good.
I just don't like the texture of popcorn really. The only time I ever want popcorn is if I'm at a movie.
Did I review that Long Legs movie? No, I said it in the ad. Terrible. Don't watch it.
Yeah, you kind of told me that. I talked
Um,
to I think Wes about it too. He said it was horrible.
well, Wes basically stood up at the end of the movie and fucking shouted, "That's the worst movie I've ever seen." So people were looking back at us. We were all the way in the back. I was like, "Oh, don't worry about him." All right, let me hop into my question before we get too far off the rails. So I did my first workout. I'm not gonna necessarily call it I wasn't going crazy. Me and Marissa went for a bike ride. Got the bikes out, pumped them up, put a little WD-40 on the chain, and we did 4 miles, which is we rode through the neighborhood next to us all the way to River Road.
Mhm.
Came back. 30-minute bike ride, 4 miles. My question for you, how far realistically do you think you could ride a bike
Okay.
with
First, I have to ask a follow-up question to your workout. Was it the electric bikes?
no, you fuck. I would not have put it in Map My Run if it was the electric bike. Talk about disrespect. I'll ride the electric bike down there and beat your ass.
Oh man, I just had to ask because I'm not gonna lie. You said bike ride, and I saw 4 miles, and I was like, I wonder.
Fuck you, man. Fuck you.
Okay, so standard bike. Are we talking beach cruiser? Are we talking like a triathlon bike, like a road bike?
The bike that I rode today is like a cruiser type. It's kind of like a cruiser hybrid. Uh, the bike your dad bought me in college.
Okay. Right. So I think I could ride like a road bike further than I could like a cruiser. Um, but I think if I was really pushing myself, I could do at least 50 miles, I think.
That's crazy.
Well, I mean, you think about it, like we're really trying to see. It's not going to be fun. I'm not going to be like,
Right.
but like, how far could I physically go? I think 50 miles is solid. I mean, that's
Well, I
probably,
mean, you double the amount you did in the marathon, so that makes sense. It's easier to ride a bike than it is to run.
yeah, and it depends on like the terrain you're riding on as well. We talking like North Carolina where it's just flat, then yeah, I think I could swing 50. Um,
You know what would have sucked? Which I don't really know if it would have been easier to ride a bike on the course that we did in Atlanta.
it would have been easier than running it. If
Not
we're
on the
talking about
up,
the
not on
same,
the uphill parts. The downhill parts obviously would be a breeze.
yeah, but if you have a bike that has different gears and you know how to properly shift between them, then you can get up the hill.
You was it you go higher gear or lower gear up the hill.
You go into your low gear, so you want it at like the lowest gear where it's not killing you, so the pedals spin faster and it feels like you're not going anywhere necessarily, but the bike continues moving versus like if you have it in the high gear, if you're like 12 or whatever, it's going to be really hard to pedal.
Right.
Uh,
You want it in the high gear when you're like got your speed up and you put it in that high gear so it just maintains and can go ultimately faster. Kind
Okay.
of the same thing in a car. Like if you were, going up a hill, you wouldn't put it in, sixth gear. You'd drop it down into like second gear or first gear if you really have to go slow and climb.
I'm with you.
All
I
right,
vibe with that.
next question. I'm gonna say a lyric to a song, and I want you to tell me what song you think of.
Oh God. Okay.
Let Me Love You.
Let Me Love You. That's all I'm getting.
Yeah.
Let Me Love You. This- I know this is not the song, but the song that comes to my head is "How to Love" by Lil Wayne.
Not the song.
I know. This is what came to my head. Do I know the song?
You should know the song.
Let Me
There's
Love You.
two songs. There's two songs, and it sparks a debate on what type of person you are based off what song you think of. And you don't know either of them apparently.
You tell me the songs, and I'll tell you which one I would have picked.
Well, that's not really how this works.
I don't think I'm gonna get them. You got to give me more of the song.
So there's one song by Neo, and there's one song by Mario. The song by
Oh, Neo.
Mario, you think of the
Yeah.
song by Neo?
Yeah, I would think so.
So the song by Mario is what I think of, and it goes, "Baby, you should let me love you."
Let me be the one to
Exactly.
give you all you have.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's probably the one then, actually.
And then the song by Neo is something like, "Girl, let me love you."
No, no, fuck that one.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, exactly,
no,
exactly. Okay, we're on the same page. So we're old school. That means we're old school officially.
really.
Yeah, yeah. The younger people pick the Neo song. Don't get me wrong, still a bop, but it's not the Mario version.
Yeah, no.
All right, there, and that's final.
I'm gonna rock with a couple. I'm gonna do another music question,
Okay,
but I'm just gonna ask you to rank these five bands.
okay.
I'm gonna stick, rock, classic rock. Led Zeppelin,
Mm-hmm.
AC/DC,
Mm-hmm.
Stones, Rush, and the last one, The Who.
So
Your brother's head will probably explode, and depending on where you do a certain band, Drew's head will probably explode.
yeah, Rush, I know. Um, you know, so I'm just gonna put the Who last because I don't know tons of their songs off the top of my head. I mean, I very well could be ignorant to that. Don't really care. Um, then I'm probably gonna go. So between Rush and Led Zeppelin are probably gonna be 3 and 4. I don't know which yet. And then 1 and 2 is gonna be between AC/DC and Stones. I'll probably go AC/DC because I know more of their songs, and I'll probably go Stones too. Probably go. God, Drew's gonna hate me, but I'm probably gonna go Led Zeppelin 3 and Rush 4. Um, but that would be my order just based off the songs that I know. Um, but yeah, that's my list.
I don't hate your list. Honestly, they're all great bands.
Yeah,
I would put The Who at five also.
yeah,
Um, I mean, they've got bangers. Great
right,
band.
right,
Um, the Stones would be my one, and then really 2 through 4 interchangeable for me.
right, right. I'd agree with they're all very close.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Drew's head's probably gonna spin on the way
Yeah,
to work tomorrow.
yeah, he's probably pulling over at a Food Lion to just take a shit right now, and he's gonna let his demons out.
Pulling over to take a shit at a Food Lion could really be anybody listening to this. So
That's nasty work.
Food Lion's got a good bathroom. I'm not gonna have you slander Food Lion bathrooms. All right.
I have never one time in my life pulled over on the way to work to take a shit somewhere.
That's crazy.
Never. It's never even like been a thought. Like I've been like, damn, I could shit right now, but like
Well, you
not.
don't have real stomach. Well, you don't have stomach problems, so
Well, I also eat a very, normal diet, I feel like.
don't do all that.
I ate 3 normal meals a day.
Don't do all that.
No, very rarely fast food.
I don't eat, truthfully, a bunch of fast food. And I had a crepe this morning.
Yeah, that's your
There's a,
problem right there. Just
it's
eat
a
some
li-
fucking eggs.
it's a light pancake,
And
and
then and then
I shit my guts out when I got home. All right, you gotta. Is it?
that
Did you
that's
do?
the end of my
You did too, right?
I did my two, yeah.
I did my too.
All right, so let's end it on a pet peeve.
All right.
Um, I have a pet peeve, and it's when I'm going to get
Pat
gas.
peeve. Who is that?
Yeah, it's Pat's peeve. Um, so it's when I'm going
Pat's
to get
peeves. That's the new name of the segment. Pat's
Pat's
peeves.
peeves. It's when I'm going to get gas, and I pull out the fucking nozzle, right? I select the grade of gas I'm putting in my car, and then I go over to insert it into the fucking gas tank, and gas fucking drips out all over the side of my car. I hate that.
Can I tell you a way to avoid that?
Right, I understand it, tilt it up, right? I usually do, but then
Not
you
even.
have
Just put it in your fucking car first.
no, I do that before I hit the little thing. I go to put it in my car first because I do think about this. I'm very fucking precise when it comes to gas pumps. As you know, I have that irrational fear.
Not
So
irrational. I saw it happen at work. It's real.
it's real, right? Everybody thought I was fucked up 'cause thinking it, but it happens. Um, and I guess there's like just a little bit left over in the nozzle, and then I go and tilt it, and it just spills. It rarely happens, but when it does, it pisses me off.
I guess the culprit could also be the person before you, not shaking it until every last drop comes out.
Yeah, yeah, that they should be. They definitely shouldn't be able to own a gun if they do that.
My pet peeve is the company where I bought my new American flag from because I have to retire my old American flag. I'm gonna burn it because I read that's the way you're supposed to retire them. Burn it to ashes. That's what I read.
There is a way that you're supposed to do it. So I would suggest to get on Google and put like proper retirement of a flag.
I'm not gonna fucking just throw it in the backyard.
Yeah, don't just like toss it on the ground, throw some gas on it and light it on fire. That's
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna give it the respect it deserves. But I'm putting the old one was just a wooden flagpole. You stick the flag through it and there's a clip. Pretty
Yep.
simple. This one, still pretty simple, but it's you put 3 poles together, except they were factory wrong and they wouldn't go into each other. So I had to take my needle nose pliers and like bend it a little bit to get them to fit. But then because I did that, the clips wouldn't go on correctly. So turn
correctly.
into a correctly turn into a clusterfuck. But
Yeah,
it's
be
up.
like that.
Flags flying, America baby. Fucking 40 gold medals. You think I'm not flying my fucking flag?
Fucking let them know. Steph for president.
Oh God.
On God, slime.
I'm baby great phone now.
Hey, so before we exit, I do want to try one thing since you finally became a responsible adult and got some headphones with a microphone. I want to try one thing. I want us to both think of a word and I want us to guess it at the same time, right? So you got something you're gonna guess?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Flowers.
Cheese.
All right, so
Okay.
we'll see how that listens, and then we'll see if we decide to do that on a segment. But until next time, my brother,
Peace.
Illuminati.